Part 28. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 271. Chapter 271, 271, Teaching. This is putting yourself on the shelf. There are so many people here, many of whom I know, and I don't know how the cold weather blows on me. Minister Yan said that. Shen Yun asked carefully. That's not it. I understand that his noodle stall can say this. How can a weak person call back hundreds of people here? You can understand it at a glance, Liang Shan said proudly. Shen Yun breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Yan Han didn't occasionally act out of tune like this guy. Otherwise, this would be really bullshit. Okay, then you go in and grab a seat. I'll go in later and get some fresh air outside. Shen Yun just wanted to get rid of the people quickly. Okay, then I'll go in and get a seat for you. Liang Shan ran inside without waiting for Shen Yun to refuse. Shen Yun waited outside for a while and saw Yan Han coming over with a large pile of yellow paper. I informed you that it's 7:30. Everyone who should come here should be here by now. Let's go in. Yan Han looked at the time and said. Okay, let's go. The two people walked in. The people they knew inside smiled and waved and said hello, and the two people naturally handed out the yellow paper. Then Yan Han found a place and sat down naturally. Shen Yun walked up to the podium under the watchful eyes of everyone. The people below were confused for a moment. After all, Shen Yun looked like a girl of 17 or 18 years old, and she didn't look at all like an expert. Shen Yun looked around and said nothing. He had suppressed his momentum and released it directly. The people below him fell silent for an instant and became silent. Shen Yun nodded with satisfaction. Since his bloodline was purified, his aura seems to be much easier to use than his own cultivation level. He tried it on the sky spider yesterday and tried it again today. As expected, the effect is very good. No, Shen Yun took the time to think about whether he would become a dragon as time went by. But I haven't forgotten what I came here to do today. I'm sure you all know what I'm doing here today. I'm going to teach you a little spell. Shen Yun directly picked up a piece of yellow paper and said. The people below me passed by Shen Yun just now and they didn't talk nonsense. Whatever Shen Yun asked, the people below him answered. Everyone knows how to fold paper cranes, or you can fold them into other things. This is a carrier. Even if you don't fold it, it depends on your own habits, Shen Yun said and folded the yellow paper in his hand. The shape of the paper crane. The next step is the key point. The guy holding the camera over there, aim it this way, Shen Yun greeted, looking at the people below who were almost busy, and then started the next step of reciting the spell. This is easy to say, but the difficulty depends on how well you control your own aura. Shen Yun read it quickly, then slowed down and read it again. Don't just chant the incantation out loud, but also bring spiritual energy, otherwise why would this thing fly, Shen Yun emphasized as he watched the people below chanting after him. Then he read what he wanted to say directly to the paper crane, and explained the person he wanted to send it to, and then everyone saw the paper crane fly out with a swish. Sister, the little paper crane is over here. The little one sitting at the back cooperated very well. He stood up and said. Everyone turned around and saw a paper crane flying in mid-air. Then what Shen Yun said just now fell from the paper. Came out from the crane. Everyone was a little careless just now, but now they stopped watching the excitement and started to tossing the yellow paper in front of them over and over again. Those who are thoughtful and talented need not say much. Such a simple spell succeeded in just a few attempts. However, those who did not know Shen Yun, or who watched it as a joke at first, took a lot of time to succeed. Looking at the people below, they are basically successful. Everyone looked happy. Shen Yun spoke on a whim, I'm teaching you some simple spells. I wonder if you are interested. Interested, the answers were uniform this time. Shen Yun had no ink marks, so he just said the name of the spell and started to demonstrate it. Throughout the morning, Shen Yun originally only planned to teach the messenger talisman, but later he also taught the cleansing spell, the spiritual rain spell, the lightning spell and other spells, a total of 5. As for whether all these people have learned it, Shen Yun really doesn't know. She only knows that the video recorder next to her has recorded it, and those who haven't learned it can watch the replay later. When Shen Yun announced that get out of class was over, the people below him calmed down. "Teach a little bit, teacher," the people below shouted loudly. "The master will starve his disciples to death. Besides, you are not my disciples yet, so be satisfied." Shen Yun smiled and walked outside. "Teacher, do you want to accept a disciple?" This voice was loud. Shen Yun turned around and saw that Liang Shan was leading the booing. Who else could it be if they weren't the other 2 supervisors? These guys were really flexible. They wanted to be his brothers before, but now they want to be apprentices. "I have no idea yet," Shen Yun replied with a smile. Waiting outside for Shen Hong and Xiao Benqi to rush out, the 3 of them slipped away quietly before they came out. "Fortunately we ran fast, otherwise we would have been surrounded by these people," Shen Hong said with lingering fear. After this class, he understood what they usually studied. So many people wanted to become teachers, but even so many refused. However, they did not have any conditions to teach. They were so lucky. Having such a sister was like a lifetime ago. Do good deeds. Be sure to talk to your brothers and elders at home when you go back, and you must be better to this. The 3 of them returned home. Shen Yun did not dare to go out for the next few days. Even when Shen Jian came, Shen Hong went to pick him up. The ones coming are Shen Chen and Shen Hong. After a whole night of repairs, Shen Yun adjusted Shen Jian's condition to the best. At the appointed time early the next morning, Shen Yun led several people to carry Shen Jian to the door of Jiang's hometown. "Knock it open, it's the same young man as last time. My grandfather and a few others are waiting inside. Just follow me." In seeing that Shen Yun didn't say anything about the report, the other party opened the door directly and let Shen Yun and the others in. Shen Yun nodded towards him and motioned for the others to follow him directly. When I arrived at the clinic I came to last time, several old people who had made an appointment with Shen Yun were already here, followed by a few middle-aged and young people. "I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Zhang, Lao Qian, Lao Qiu," Shen Yun said to several people. "What kind of trouble is this?" "It's just my job. Put the person on the bed and let us take a look." Mr. Zhang waved his hand to signal Shen Yun not to be so polite. After Shen Jian lay down, Shen Yun and the others stepped aside, and several old men inside gave Shen Jian a serious look. Shen Yun felt that there were faint eyes looking this way. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 272. Chapter 272, 272, Needle. Shen Yun glanced around and knew the source of these glances. It turned out that the young and middle-aged people standing in the room were looking vaguely towards this side. Shen Yun didn't care what these people were looking at him for, and turned his eyes directly to a few old people. There was no expression on the faces after feeling the pulse, and it was hard to tell what the situation was. Shen Yun calmed down and saw that these old doctors felt their pulse. Shen Jian had been unconscious for such a long time. Shen Yun and the others could still afford to wait for a while. Then Mr. Zhang said that he wanted the juniors in the family to feel their pulse, and Shen Yun nodded directly. "It won't hurt if you touch it. As long as there is a good treatment method, then touch it. We are all clear about the situation. Let's discuss it some more." After speaking, Mr. Zhang called people aside and let the juniors explain the situation first. Shen Yun and the others were listening. These people spoke very professionally. Some of them understood what they were saying, while others didn't quite understand. After the juniors finished talking, It was Mr. Zhang and the others. Half an hour has passed since the discussion was finished. This young man's name is Shen Jian, right? His condition seems to be pretty good now. As you said, his brain was injured before, but now it seems that all the injuries in his brain are healed, and there isn't even any hidden injury. Now he's like this. In this case, we recommend acupuncture treatment. Mr. Zhang said a lot, and finally gave some treatment suggestions. Then who do you think is better to do this acupuncture? Shen Yun asked politely. Lao Chu is an expert in this field. He has been using golden needles for more than 60 years and has countless people alive. If you don't worry, then Lao Chu will give the young man the acupuncture. Mr. Zhang immediately pointed to Mr. Chu next to him. Of course you can rest assured, Shen Yun said trustingly. She had seen Mr. Chu's resume at the Alchemy Research Institute before, and knew that his ability was not just a boast. If they hadn't met by chance, it would have been a bit difficult for her to ask the old man to come out. Okay, since you trust me, I will make a fool of myself, old man, but your brother's situation will probably take several times. Let's apply the acupuncture first to see the effect, Mr. Chu said politely. Teacher, can your body hold up? A middle-aged man next to him frowned when he heard what Mr. Chu said. My health is fine, don't worry, bring me my needle. Mr. Chu glared at his apprentice. Teacher, how about I come? What are you, this young man is in a special situation, you stay here and study hard, and you guys. Mr. Chu took the needle pack and told the people next to him, then turned around and walked towards the bed where Shen Jian was lying. Several people from the Shen family quickly followed, and the others were not slow at all. The master was teaching, and if you didn't watch, you would suffer. The whole room was quiet, and all eyes were focused on Chu Lao's hand. The other party placed a needle on Shen Jian's head and his face began to sweat. The apprentice next to him quickly wiped away the sweat. Chu Lao continued to move, his hand flying up steadily. After 3 injections, Chu Lao's lips began to turn white. Shen Yun was watching nervously. The old man's body was related to Shen Jian's fate. Even if he had good things, he didn't know if he could interrupt him at this moment. Mr. Zhang next to him saw that something was wrong, so he took out a piece of ginseng from the locked cabinet and stuffed it into Mr. Chu's mouth. After the 9 needles were inserted, Chu Lao directly supported the arm of the person next to him. Help me go over and have a rest. I'm old and I can't bear to be old. You have to rest first. Treating diseases and rescuing people is also a laborious job. Shen Yun watching the person sit down, he directly brought a cup of water with added ingredients and sent it over. This is all for my brother, thank you for your hard work. Hey, it's just my duty. I'm telling you a joke. You can take out the needle in half an hour. Then we'll check on his condition. Mr. Chu waved his hand, took a sip of water, and took a breath. Said with a smile. Don't worry, no one will laugh at you. These juniors are all impressed by your skills just now. Qian Lao next to him said with a smile, you will get stronger when you are old, I will definitely not be able to do it anymore. Mr. Chu also recovered after drinking water. When he heard what the other party said, he smiled happily. By the way, old Zhang, I took a piece of your ginseng and I'll get it to you when I get home. Oh, you, an old man, know how to be polite. If you are willing to take out your ginseng and give it to me, then I will really learn a lot. Mr. Zhang also waved his hand with a smile. The juniors are all here, and you, an old man, don't give me any face. Chu Lao pretended to be angry and put the cup of water aside. You don't need to keep taking it. I'll take this and bring it to you when I get back, Shen Yun said quickly to the side. No, it's just a joke. Mr. Zhang quickly waved his hand. A few people chatted for a while, then turned back to Shen Jian's side. It was another round of feeling for the pulse, and the time was up. Pulling out the needle was not that hard, and Chu Lao only sweated a little. The effect of the injection this time is pretty good, but it needs to be used continuously for a week. Let your brother live here. Anyway, Lao Jiang's family is big, and only his 3 grandchildren live there. Just leave someone in your family to take care of the patient. Mr. Chu arranged the arrangement directly and politely. Yes, yes, it's just a good companion for the boy at home, Mr. Zhang also said quickly. Shen Yun thought for a while that this would be a good idea. Shen Jian didn't have to move back and forth to avoid causing irreversible damage. Plus, there was a doctor here, which made him feel more at ease. Then I won't bother you, Shen Yun said gratefully. It's okay, Mr. Zhang waved his hand. Shen Yun and others discussed it together, and finally Shen Hong, his brother, got the job. After moving Shen Jian to Mr. Jiang's room, the others left without staying much longer. Xiao Bengqiao and I are going out. Big brother and fourth brother, please go home and pack up the things of third brother and bring them over, Shen Yun said not long after he walked out of the room. Where are you going? Shen Chen asked worriedly. Go to the north to get some things. I promised Mr. Zhang that I would always have ginseng. Although the other party said forget it, this saved Shen Jian and we couldn't be careless. Shen Yun didn't hide it either. How about you take the child out? Why don't you leave the child at home for Shen Hong to take care of, and I will go with you. Shen Chen felt that Shen Yun's suggestion was a good one, but there was something wrong with the person taking the child. I'm looking down on people. When Xiao Bengqiao heard what Shen Chen said, he was a little unhappy and flew directly into the air to a position as high as Shen Chen. Can I go play now? Little ancestor, what's going on with you? Come down quickly. Shen Hong nervously went over and hugged the person. He looks down on me, why don't I prove it? Xiao Bengqiao said nonchalantly. Okay, we believe it, Shen Hong said immediately, and then hid in a cool place. At that moment, he thought that the golden dragon was not a human being. He did not feel relieved until he held it in his arms and felt warm. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 273. Little Benki's strength is better than the two of you, so don't worry now, Shen Yun quickly explained after watching the actions of several people. Don't worry, take it away. Let's go back and pack the clothes for the third child. Shen Chen's heart almost jumped out of his chest due to the little jump just now. Hearing Shen Yun say this time, he felt really relieved. The 4 people were directly divided into 2 waves. Shen Yun and the others flew directly towards the north. Both of them are at the golden core stage, and as they increase their speed, they can only see a ray of light streaking through the air. Go directly to the mountains in the north where ginseng is abundant. This is it. Little Benki, let's be careful. Even if you come here, you can't come in vain. There are a lot of good things here, Shen Yun explained while turning around and saw a breathtaking scene. Little Benki was already talking to several people. The 2 little tiger cubs were playing together, and there were 2 lazy big tigers lying next to them. The other party didn't mean to hurt anyone, and looked lazily at the little Benki playing with the little tiger. Shen Yun felt the spiritual energy fluctuations on the other party's body, but did not act rashly. Little Benki, are you done playing? It's time to find something. After waiting for a while, Shen Yun greeted Xiao Benki, who had not petted the cat enough. Sister, these are local snakes, can we just ask them for help? Xiao Bengqiao said with a smile. But we don't have any reward to pay them. Shen Yun spread his hands. He didn't have any meat on him, and these tigers were not vegetarians. It's okay, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of it, Xiao Bengqiao said with a big smile. Okay, then it's up to you. Let's go, someone has taken care of this matter, so Shen Yun doesn't have to worry. The little tiger turned around and barked a few times at the 2 tigers over there. The tiger that was lying down stood up and took several tiger cubs with him, one bird per person, and the 5 tigers walked forward. As expected, it was a local snake, and I found a ginseng after a while. Shen Yun directly used earth magic and dug out a complete ginseng. Sure enough, it was the ginseng that these tigers were worried about. It was really quite big. Thank you. Shen Yun took the ginseng and shook it towards the tiger, then stuffed it into the space while it was still fresh. His consciousness directly penetrated in and buried the ginseng on the spot. Lao Hu glanced at Shen Yun and continued walking forward. Shen Yun watched the little jumpers follow, and he also followed. Next, a few more ginsengs were put into the bag, and some newly mutated spiritual plants were also encountered in the middle. Shen Yun picked up some that he didn't have enough space to dig directly. Although this trip was for ginseng, the harvest was far more than that. Except for the most famous tiger and deer antlers, which are not available, everything else is available. Everything is ready, let's go back. After thanking the tigers, Shen Yun stopped Xiao Banqi, who was still wanting to wander in the mountains, and reminded him. I know, sister, take the spirit stone, 100 yuan. Xiao Banqi spread her hands and directly asked Shen Yun to pay. Shen Yun thought that Xiao Banqi was talking about something good, but it turned out to be spiritual stones. However, spiritual stones are also a rarity nowadays. Thinking about the spiritual plants and ginseng in his space, the money paid was considered worth it. Bar. Where to put it? Shen Yun asked thoughtfully. Tiger Cave, follow them. Xiao Banqi translated. Okay, let's go. Another long walk followed. The little tiger just couldn't walk fast. Even if Shen Yun was anxious, they wouldn't let him carry him and could only follow behind. By the time we reached Tiger Cave, it was already getting dark inside the mountain. Shen Yun also had no ink marks. After putting away his things, he was about to leave when he heard a painful howl. The tiger family, who were about to rest, also stood up alertly. Xiao Banqi reacted faster than Shen Yun, and immediately left the cave and listened carefully to the sounds outside. Someone is catching the monster, Xiao Banqi said with certainty. Shen Yun immediately brought it in. Catching monsters is poaching, that is, hunting nationally protected animals. Although they have become monsters now, the law has not changed yet. There are few things on this mountain that are not protected animals. Then this matter should be under the supervision of the supervisor. It's time to catch up. Little Banqi, let's go meet these people. Big Tiger, you stay in the cave and don't come out. Shen Yun and the tiger family explained and walked directly outside. The two of them were not slow at all, and soon they arrived at the place where they had just howled. 5 wrapped in tight black clothes, under the cover of the dark night, they were rounding up 2 black bears, one big and one small. Both of them looked like monsters. The smaller one was already lying on the ground and could only moan. The big one is still resisting desperately. The way he looked at the 5 people next to him was not ordinary. Let's fight quickly to avoid accidents. A man in black seemed to sense that something was wrong in the atmosphere and said to the person next to him. Shen Yun and the others did not give each other a chance to fight quickly and attack directly. It was easy for 2 golden elixirs to deal with several chi-refining cultivators. Several people were knocked to the ground within a short time. Looking at the frantic black bear that wanted to attack the 2 of them, Xiao Banqi barked several times in that direction for the first time. The clear sound directly woke up the black bear, who had lost his mind. Sister, I'm going to see Little Bear, you're watching the bad guys here. Little Banqi angrily kicked the person next to him, who was unable to resist. Shen Yun directly pulled down the masks of several people. There were 4 Chinese faces and 1 foreigner's face. Looking at the obvious shape behind the foreigner, it was a birdman again. The group from his spirit beast bag hadn't come yet. And processing. Tell me, who are you, and what is the purpose of catching these animals? Don't think about lying, and don't think about dying. I will search for souls. Even if you die, you are all cultivators. You have not reached Yuan dynasty yet as a baby. If you die in front of me, you will not have a next life. Shen Yun started to ask several people with harsh words. If you want to kill, just kill. There is so much nonsense. The other party was very disdainful. To be honest, this was the first time Shen Yun encountered such a tough villain. He must have read too many martial arts novels. Kill you, you are overthinking. I don't want to dirty my hands. If anyone is willing to take the initiative, I will let him go. Shen Yun glanced at a few people next to him. I said it, the winged guy said in awkward Chinese. Say. Shen Yun nodded. We are mercenaries. An organization hires us to catch these beasts all over the world, and then send them to a small island in the Pacific. The reward is very generous. I didn't want to do this at first. After all, my future is very good. How could I know these few? The guy asked me to come with him, and these people seem to be very familiar with this organization. I suspect that these 4 people are members of this organization. Although the Birdman spoke very poorly, he still expressed his meaning clearly. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 274. You said you joined them temporarily, Shen Yun continued to ask. Yes, Birdman said affirmatively. You guy is obviously a bad gambler and will be hacked to death. You insist on joining our team. Now you have the nerve to say this. I have already said that gamblers are the most unreliable. You must take this person with you. A person next to him couldn't help but cursed when he heard what he said. Okay, shut up. The leader looked at the pig teammates he had found and couldn't help shouting angrily. Okay, someone has spoken. Aren't you willing to say it? Frankness is lenient. Our country pays attention to keeping a tightrope when doing things. Besides, look at it, it's just me and a child. If we go out and tell people, can people believe us? Let's talk. I'm also short of money and want to find some tasks to do. He said half of the words. Whether they can understand the rest depends on whether they believe what they said. I just said it, and you agreed to let me go. The Birdman next to him reminded him. Little Benki, take him and let him go. Shen Yun shouted directly at the little Benki next to him. Don't let him run away. His spiritual consciousness also sent a message to Xiao Benki. Let's see if anyone wants to leave as promised. If you don't want to leave, then I'll call the police. There are so many things to do to make money, and you can't hide it. If you have money, should we all make it together? You think about it, if you go in, no matter how much you earn, it won't be yours to use. Shen Yun walked back and forth around a few people, folding paper cranes in his hands as he spoke, and said a few words directly to the paper. The crane quickly disappeared in front of everyone. You see, this is a tool for finding people. It's very fast. If no one talks for half an hour, it's not my responsibility. If you want to leave, it depends on how serious the crime you committed is. Shen Yun folded his hands. Watching these people struggle. We are just ordinary poachers. This is not a big crime. Besides, we haven't succeeded yet. Don't listen to the nonsense of the foreigner just now. He just wants to destroy our internal unity. There is no such thing as making money. The man lying down moved uneasily, but he still didn't want to tell the truth. Although he was determined to die just now, but as time goes by, who wants to die if he can live? He has to try to quibble. Bar. Do you think I believe it or not? Shen Yun didn't plan to argue with these people anymore. It was getting dark, so he didn't want to delay going home to rest. If you don't tell me, then I will use the soul-searching technique. As for whether you will be alive or become fools afterwards, it's hard to say. Shen Yun directly raised his hand, and a strong spiritual energy gathered in his heart. The people lying down were a little panicked when they saw that Shen Yun was really serious about it. I said, we are all following him. I really don't know the specific situation. This organization has collected a lot of monsters. I have been to that island, but the sea is so big, I really don't know where it is. Anyway, every leader has a coordinate. If you want to search for his soul, search for him. He knows everything. Such a person has no moral integrity and will not hesitate to betray his teammates. Once one person identified it, the rest would be easy. Everyone pointed their finger at the middle-aged man with a sinister face in the middle. Shen Yun's eyes were about to burst into flames when he saw how angry he was. What else do you have to say now? Everyone is pointing at you. I have the last bit of patience left. Do you want to say it yourself or do I do it? Shen Yun looked at this person. Should we let us go first? Several other people asked cautiously. What are you thinking? That person just now is a foreigner, are you? They don't know the laws of our country. Don't you know either? Don't you know that hunting black bears is illegal? Shut up. Keep chirping. If you find any effective clues, I'll blow your heads off, Shen Yun said threateningly, raising his fist. As soon as these words were said, the others suddenly did not dare to speak out, and their eyes focused on the man in the middle. As for the people he had just recruited next to him who were gnashing their teeth in anger, it was none of Shen Yun's business. They couldn't beat him anyway. I'll do it, the middle-aged man decisively chose to trick others when choosing between tricking others or tricking himself. Anyway, the island is not in the country, and it's not certain when it will be found, but if he doesn't say it now, he'll be damned just yourself. Okay, let me give you a chance and say it. Originally, Shen Yun listened a little casually, but when he listened, he felt a little familiar. You said that the island itself is surrounded by a large formation, and only those with tokens can enter. Where is your token? Take it out and let me see. Shen Yun directly stretched out his hand. For you. The man took out a round token and looked at the familiar pattern on it. Shen Yun's scalp almost exploded. What he thought had been completely overturned came back to life. The Fu family no longer exists. Domestic and foreign research institutes, they were all destroyed, just like Xiaoqiang who couldn't be killed. Who is it? Shen Yun kept thinking about what happened. The Fu family in Hong Kong City was completely occupied by the Du family. As for the people of the Fu family who had committed such a big crime, no one was outside. All the people who should be locked up were locked up. 2 foreigners were also subdued when they were hiding from Qing Lian. So who was it that restored this organization? Shen Yun couldn't help but breathe quickly. By the way, he had forgotten about the formation master and the escaping Jiao Weihe. And it's not sure whether the people working with the Fu family were 1 or 2 foreigners or a group of people. After disappearing for such a year, the other party probably went into hibernation to conserve their strength. I've accepted this thing. As for your results, let's see what is going on this island. After Chen Yun finished speaking, he felt a large number of people coming towards him, gesturing to Xiao Bengqiao to take care of what he had just done. Bring back the foreigner who was taken away. You are not trustworthy, the foreigner yelled at Shen Yun when he came back. I let you go. It's just that you were incompetent and you were caught again by the bear. You can't blame me for this. Xiao Bengqiao didn't feel embarrassed at all. No one could understand what he and the bear said anyway. You. Birdman fainted from anger, his nerves were really fragile. Don't pretend to be fainted. You will be arrested even if you are fainted. The person who picks you up is already here. Shen Yun looked at the few people next to him who were about to move and reminded him. As soon as he finished speaking, the group of people he had just sensed had already arrived. We received instructions from the capital city and we need support here. Shen Yun didn't recognize the person coming, and he must be from the local office. It's me. I went into the mountains to do something, and I happened to meet these people poaching black bears. Moreover, these people are cultivators, so I can only trouble you, Shen Yun said politely to Sang. Thank you for your contribution to maintaining ecological harmony. This is our responsibility. The other party did not look down on Shen Yun just because she was a little girl. After all, poachers are extremely vicious people. This little girl can subdue these people. It's definitely high. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 275. Thank you. Please send these people to the Beijing Municipal Minister Yan. They are involved in major cases, Shen Yun mentioned briefly. Okay, the other party nodded. This was really not their business. Several people, the people quickly, these two black bears must be taken back for treatment. No matter what they are now, their numbers are still there, and we still have to ensure their survival. After several people, the people, looking at the injured black bear again, he explained. Shen Yun looked at the little one who was playing with the black bear and was silent for a second. At this time, she also understood a little bit why there were so many monsters in Fenjiu. It turned out that phoenixes like furry animals. Little Benki, we have to leave, they are taking the bear back for treatment, Shen Yun called out. Okay, you follow these people. Don't worry, these people won't hurt you. You are protected by me now. If anyone bullies you, just call Brother Jinlong. The little jumper jumped up and patted the bear directly. Shoulder, he explained in an uneasy manner, which made Shen Yun and the others who were watching beside him quite amused. Children are naive. The bear can't understand this, but come here quickly. Bears are very dangerous animals. Children should not get close to them. While laughing, these people's hearts were lifted. They glanced at Shen Yun and saw Shen Yun didn't react at all. He thought to himself and quickly called Xiao Bengqiao to come over. Here they come, take them with you. The little one waved his little hand, and the bear directly picked up the little black bear and looked at the people pointed by the little one with wide eyes. Hey, you've become a spirit. You can understand people's words now. Okay. Now that you understand, it will be easier to handle. Come with us. We will take care of your injuries and then send them back to you. Several people were gone. It's so easy to think of this. Shen Yun and the others happened to be going down the mountain, so they went down directly with a few others. What are you doing on this side mountain? Many people don't dare to go up the mountain now. You are really talented and brave. As they walked, the people on the opposite side asked Shen Yun and the others curiously. I heard there are wild ginseng here, come up and have a look, Shen Yun said with a smile. We have a lot of good things here, not only wild ginseng, but also other things. But now there are some powerful beasts like black bears on the mountain. Ordinary people don't dare to go up the mountain. But you can't go up the mountain with a child, convenient. By the way, I think you won't gain much from this. How about I introduce you to a ginseng plant? Although it's not wild, the effect is the same. The other party said enthusiastically. Seeing that Shen Yun was empty-handed, he still wanted to introduce ginseng to Shen Yun. No, no, I'll go up the mountain and have a look. Thank you, Shen Yun said politely. At the foot of the mountain, I said goodbye to the enthusiastic northerner, and the two of them went straight to the capital. It was already 8 or 9 o'clock when I got home. Two brothers were sitting in the yard looking longingly at the sky. When they saw Shen Yun and the others coming back, they stood up happily. You are finally back, how are you? Are you not injured? The two people looked back and forth around Shen Yun and the others. It's okay, I've dug up stuff. Come on, let's ask my two brothers to make these wood boxes into boxes for ginseng tomorrow. Just make them as big as this, Shen Yun said, taking out 2 large pieces of wood, and then gestured check the size. Hearing Shen Yun say it was okay, they saw that it was okay and felt relieved. They took the wood and started working. Making a wooden box was quite easy for them as cultivators, so they just took the kitchen knife and started working. Shen Yun explained the matter and took out 2 ginsengs as thick as directly from the space. It was unclear how old these were, but they smelled fragrant, and the roots were very long. It was estimated that they were not old. It is short and can be taken out. Carefully remove the soil from the top, and then place it on the table to dry. The next morning, I didn't rush over to talk to Yan Han about yesterday's events. I went to see Shen Jian for acupuncture first. When the 4 people arrived, Mr. Chu was already at the place and was having breakfast at Mr. Jiang's house. "Hey, have you eaten yet? You bought a lot in the morning." Mr. Jiang greeted several people quickly when he saw them. I've eaten," several people said quickly. "You guys eat slowly, this is a gift for Mr. Jiang and Mr. Chu." Shen Chen politely held up the box he had made overnight. "I'll put it aside for you." "Oh, you said you were too polite. You brought gifts when you came. Children only have so many gifts," Mr. Jiang said with a smile. "This is specially prepared for you, Mr. Chu, so you should hide it a bit," Shen Yun said with a smile. "Oh, then I want to see what good stuff it is." When the 2 old men heard what Shen Yun said, they immediately became interested and stopped eating. They put down their chopsticks and each held a box in their arms. Opening it and taking a look, the 2 of them closed the lid with one movement. Their conditioned reflexes calmed down, and their eyes naturally glanced to the side. It just so happens that they didn't come today. "Lao Jiang, where is my room at your house? Take me there. I have to put down my things," Chu Lao said seriously. "Little grandson, take Grandpa Chu with you. I also need to put things away, but I don't have time to accompany you," Mr. Jiang said proudly. Then the 2 old men said to everyone that they were sorry, and then left each other with the boxes in their arms. It seemed that the gifts they gave were deeply popular and were delivered to their hearts. The 2 people left in the room who didn't know why were very curious, but what made the 2 old people so precious? Even Shen Hong, who was sitting, looked at Shen Yun and the others curiously. After a while 2 old people came out. "It was a joke just now. I haven't seen such good quality ginseng in so many years. If you are interested, we will accept the things. Don't say whether to give them away or not. It is the best thing for us to get such good things." "Okay, thank you." Mr. Jiang cleared his throat and said. It's a gift, it's a gift." Shen Yun waved his hand. "There are still several ginseng in his own space, and more will grow in the future. Young ginseng does not have much effect on cultivators, but for ordinary people it's a rare good thing." "If you say that, old man, I can only endure my heartache." "Can you bear to see 2 old men still feeling distressed at such an old age?" "Don't worry, the 2 of us have been working together for so many years, although there is nothing good in exchange for you. But you still have money, so don't refuse," Mr. Chu said firmly. "But this is your reward," Shen Chen said on the side. "Oh, no matter what the reward is, your sister has already given it to you, and you have to follow my arrangements. I still want to give your brother acupuncture, so don't make me angry." Mr. Chu waved his hand. Once these words were said, Shen Yun and the others had nothing to say. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 276. This time for acupuncture, Shen Yun handed him a cup of diluted spiritual spring water in advance. Chu Lao's condition was much better than yesterday. "Look, Lao Jiang, I'm pretty good, right? When you get older, you should find some work to do. Look, they don't let me work every day. My health is getting worse. I haven't even been able to eat in the past 2 days. It's a bit more powerful, I told you. I don't know about my own body, these little ones are still not good at practicing," Chu Lao said with a little pride after pulling out the needle. "Yes, you are the only one who is great, but I don't let you work because I feel sorry for you. Who could have expected that you are so great?" Old Zhang also betrayed him and started to praise him. "You go back, don't worry, Shen Jianqi is in pretty good condition. Shen Hong said last night that her fingers were moving. This is a good sign." Hearing this, Shen Yun and the others felt a little more confident and moved their fingers. This was something that had not happened in the past year or so. The three of them were still excited when they left the Zhang family. It's good now, I have an explanation for my family. Shen Chen thought about it and kept holding on to him while he was coming over. He kept explaining his second aunt and uncle, and couldn't help but touch the corners of his eyes. Yes, all the hard work has paid off. The two people next to him nodded. By the way, brother, please go back with the golden dragon. I have something to do with the special department. The scene was the same as yesterday, except that Shen Yun only planned to go out alone today. Little Benk didn't make any fuss. He had been to the special department several times and it was not fun at all. He turned around decisively and let Shen Hong hold him. At this time, the two of them had nothing to worry about and nodded directly in agreement. Shen Yun arrived at the office, and several other supervisors were there. Shen Yun was a little surprised. Why are there so many people today? Recently, many places have reported that poaching is serious, and they are targeting some monsters. The response has reached our side. I heard that you caught a few poachers yesterday and asked them to be sent to Beijing. We were thinking about it today. You will definitely come back, Liang Shan said first. Then you guys are really clever. I did come here to talk about this matter today, but this matter should be under the control of the special department. Do you want to listen? Shen Yun looked at the few people sitting there who were planning to listen and kindly reminded him. One sentence. Did you tell me earlier? We still have a lot to do. Let's go first. You two can continue working. When the three of them heard this, they immediately threw away the things in their hands and ran faster than the other. These guys don't want to take advantage of things other than their responsibilities. It makes no sense that the supervisors have received news of poaching, but the special department has not received news. Shen Yun sat over there and asked doubtfully. Asked, when did the special department get so blocked with information? We've got the news. We have been tracking down this group of people, but they are quite numerous and powerful. They are also ruthless. Several of our people and the other party have been injured when they met. Yan Han handed over a hand directly. I came over with a pile of information. They were all places where poaching was recently discovered. There were also people who were caught, but the other party either kept silent about it or died directly. Okay, let's take a look at what I found. Shen Yun directly handed over the sign he got. Does it look familiar? Isn't this the sign of that laboratory? You mean that someone wants to build the laboratory again, but now they are catching these monsters for experiments? Yan Han took the sign and looked at it carefully. Look. This is also possible. The people I captured said that the other party set up a base on the sea, and the entire island was still surrounded by formations. You also know that when we dealt with Boss Fu, the other party had a very smart man. Array Master, you should also take a look at this, Shen Yun said and handed over the sign he picked up when he arrested Jiao Weihe. This was picked up when we captured Jiao Weihe. Now I'm not sure whether the two people cooperated, or whether the formation master was originally Jiao Weihe. Shen Yun once again expressed his speculation about foreigners. What you said is really possible. We checked after the incident and found out that the Birdman is from a family abroad, and there is a whole huge family behind him. Now we are not sure whether it was him personally cooperating with the Fu family, or whether it was him personally cooperating with the Fu family, or the whole family cooperated with the Fu family. There is also the man in black. Although he has not investigated the other party's family or anything, there are many people in the neighboring countries who study these things. By the way, we also found out that the other party seemed to have something to do with Shui Yi, so during the fight the other party was determined to die, probably to avenge Shui Yi. Yan Han briefly talked about the information found this year in one breath, and then dug out a large stack of information from the cabinet. Should we take the initiative to take action on this matter? Shen Yun really wanted to see who this person was. Don't worry, now that we have clues, let's check this way. In such a big sea, if you want to go to the island, you must take a boat. We will decide how to act when the investigation is almost complete. Yan Han stopped him directly. Shen Yun. Okay, then find someone to investigate as soon as possible. When you find out, tell me. I really want to meet this formation master. Since the special department wanted to handle this matter, Shen Yun didn't stop him. After all, a person's ability is limited. Okay, by the way, the people above have already approved your application. Take a look. 3 days have passed. Yan Han knew that Shen Yun would definitely not change his mind, so he directly submitted the information submitted by Shen Yun. I took this matter seriously, discussed it, and approved it directly. Shen Yun saw himself handing over a piece of paper, which turned into a pile. What kind of comment is this written? It's so thick, Shen Yun asked in surprise. You will know after you read it. Yan Han did not read the approval from above, but after listening to it, he knew the general plan of the above people. Shen Yun opened it and read it. When he saw clearly what was written on it, Shen Yun was confused. If the country wants to open schools, isn't it afraid that these things will be learned by others? The news our people just sent back is that the energy movement and source of energy of people outside are different from those here, so many things are useful to us but useless to them. We just need to be wary of neighboring countries. But the above view is that as long as our strength is strong enough, we don't have to worry about the other party learning something. They all have to be used, and we can't hide it. Yan Han conveyed the above message directly. That's it, let me think about it. Shen Yun looked at the proposal to hire him as the principal. This right is not small, but the responsibility is also great. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 277. Okay, think about it slowly. Anyway, this matter cannot be accomplished overnight. The country has already had this plan. After all, people with various abilities have appeared one after another around the world. There is no systematic teaching. Many people have the ability, but there is no method. The country just wants to build schools, which will also be very helpful in improving national strength. Yan Han looked at Shen Yun to think about it and expressed his thoughts again. I know this, and I will definitely consider it carefully, but where is this school currently planned to be built? The address has not been decided yet, but I think if you agree to this position, your situation will be fully considered. There are many places in the address, but these are not the most important. The most important thing is where the teacher is. Okay, I'll think about it as soon as possible. Shen Yun took a stack of replies and read them carefully. This is not only an important matter for the country, but also an important matter for yourself. You need to think carefully about it. This is not as simple as serving in a special department or a supervisory department. If you are not careful, you will make mistakes. Simple things. Shen Yun decided to think about it carefully. But the most important thing right now is Shen Jian's. Every day, several people go to Jiang's hometown early in the morning and they can always hear some good news. They expect to see Shen Jian wake up on the day after acupuncture. Shen Jian opened his eyes this morning. I talked to him, and he also gave some reactions on the 6th day. When several people came over, they saw an excited Shen Hong standing at the door, waiting for Shen Yun and others to say this as soon as they came over. The good news was told to Shen Yun and the others, and his red eyes all showed how excited he was at this moment. However, looking at the few people around him who heard the news, they were all greatly awakened. Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi were very calm. Then let's go in and take a look and listen to what Mr. Chu and the others have to say. Shen Yun took the lead and walked inside. Let's go. Let's go. Several people followed hurriedly. In the room, Mr. Zhang and Mr. Chu were already watching Shen Jian's condition beside the bed. I didn't expect this young man to recover so quickly. I thought it would take 7 days to wake up, but I didn't know that I would wake up just now. How is the young man feeling now? After the two people checked, they stood at the bedside and asked Shen Strong. "It's okay." After not speaking for a long time, and having just woken up, Shen Jian was still a little awkward when speaking. However, the four Shen family members standing aside listened to Shen Jian, who had been lying down for so long, finally speak, and their eyes couldn't help but all turned red. "Shen Jian, you finally woke up. Do you know that everyone in your family is worried to death?" Shen Hong said excitedly from the side, not daring to disturb the consultation of the two doctors next to him. "I'm fine." Shen Jian wanted to smile, but the muscles on his face seemed to be out of control, and he could only show an ugly expression. "Well, you're fine. You don't even know that Yunyun prepared a lot of good things for you while you were sleeping. It's a pity that you didn't realize it. You're in a big loss, you know." Shen Hong said that he didn't. The promising one cried. "Next time, it won't happen," Shen Jian promised anxiously. "Okay, I'll give you some time to reminisce later, and I'll give the young man acupuncture first," Mr. Chu said with a smile. He even saved a young man. He was very happy, and the young man seemed to be in good condition. "It's amazing, it seems like there are no sequelae. It's much better than expected." After the acupuncture, the person looked better, and his face had a little more expression. His nerves were not out of control like at the beginning. Chen Hong, and Xiao Bengjiao were looking at the person here. Shen Yun and Shen Chen went over to listen to the doctor's advice. "I didn't expect that after lying down for more than a year, the young man's body was not affected at all, and his muscles were in good condition. Your family members have done a good job during this year, which will be very good for his later recovery. It seems that there are no sequelae at the moment. Don't worry." Mr. Chu has nothing to explain. The patient's condition is so good. He has never seen many cases in his life. "I still have to thank you more, otherwise I don't know when I will wake up," Shen Chen said gratefully. "Hey, don't say thank you anymore. This is the fate between me and the young man. If Shen Yun hadn't taken the initiative to teach alchemy, we wouldn't have known each other. It was Shen Yun who did it first, and we met," Mr. Chu said with a smile. "It's all fate." Shen Yun said that he was a little ashamed. He hadn't taught anything about alchemy yet. He had been missing for a year, so this matter had been delayed. Even the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Plants had just been submitted, and he didn't know about the Alchemy Institute. How many people are left now? It's really a sin. Let's look back at it. By the way, Chen Yun doesn't know if you want to accept a disciple. There is a junior in my family who is very talented in medicine, but this kid is now thinking about whether he can combine immortality cultivation with medical skills to see if he can save more people in the future. Even this person, our family has no talent in cultivating immortals. I think your family is very knowledgeable, but I don't know whether to accept a disciple with a foreign surname." Mr. Chu changed the subject and said, a little embarrassed. In fact, he himself has accepted many disciples, but they are not young anymore. Now his grandson wants to be trendy. He also knows some cultivators, but he feels that Shen Yun is more reliable, especially since this girl can also make alchemy. If this alchemy is combined with medicine, there is no telling what kind of sparks it will produce in the future. Since the child has made this decision, he can only ask with a low face. Shen Yun used to feel that he had not yet reached the stage of accepting apprentices, but now that he has proposed opening a school, and he almost became the principal, accepting an apprentice does not seem to be a problem. "How about calling me to see you, but I will go back to my hometown in the future, so it won't be very convenient." Chen Yun explained the situation in advance. "Oh, what are you afraid of? Of course, the master is there, and the apprentice is there. When the time comes, bring the food money and just follow you. If there is no place to live, our family can build a small house for him locally." "What are the conditions for living and studying under a teacher?" Mr. Chu responded quickly. Returning to his hometown was not a difficult task. He thought about the hardships he had endured when he was studying medicine. This was nothing. Now that we have all accepted disciples, take a look at the two of our family. They are hard-working, good at medicine, and can take care of the children and cook. How about it? Anyway, one of them can teach, and they can also teach. Mr. Zhang was beside him. After listening to what Mr. Chu and Shen Yun said, and hearing Shen Yun's agreement, he immediately pulled his two grandsons over. Shen Yun glanced at Mr. Jiang's two grandsons. The two children were rarely embarrassed, but they looked at Shen Yun with bright eyes. Both young men had cultivation levels, but they were relatively low. They might be cultivating immortals in the future. It is difficult to make progress above, but it is impossible not to study medicine with Mr. Zhang, and you may be able to develop better in other ways in the future. Perhaps these people will become the medical practitioners recorded in the ancestors in the future. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 278. Okay, follow me when I go back. If you can endure the hardship in the future, then follow me in cultivation. If you can't endure the hardship, I will send it back to you. Shen Yunzhou said the words first. Don't worry, if you can't bear the hardship, you don't have to send it back. I'll go there in person. I still don't believe it. If there are still hardships that can't be endured, then it must be something more bitter that I have never eaten, Mr. Zhang said to his two grandsons. The two of them were so frightened that they immediately waved their hands. Grandpa, we have grown up with you. We have never endured any hardships, so we can definitely endure hardships. We must not embarrass you when we go out. Learn from the master, and in the future, we will be like you and treat people better. Many people. When I said this, the latter part was fine, but the former one really choked Mr. Zhang, and he didn't miss the children's food and drink. What do you mean? I really thought that I was old and couldn't turn my brain around, stinky boy. Hurry up and ask Chu Jing, don't talk like that. After being patted by Mr. Zhang, he hurriedly walked out. This kid has this kind of temperament, but he is very serious about studying. I like them both. They are smart and willing to learn, so I keep them by my side. You can take them with you, don't worry, let them come back in a month and I will teach them medical skills. Although it seemed like he was losing his temper, Mr. Zhang still explained to Shen Yun carefully. Don't worry, we will definitely let them come back. You can also go to my hometown to have a look. The air there is really good, and it is a good place to retire, Shen Yun said invitingly. Okay, I'll definitely go over and have a look when the time comes. The two deserved each other very quickly. After a while, Mr. Jiang's eldest grandson Zhang Ji came in with a young man. Master, I have met Master. He was so sincere that he came directly and bowed in front of Shen Yun. Shen Yun didn't even expect that he would come and didn't even react. Get up quickly, we don't want to be like this now. Shen Yun hurried over to help the person. Master of heaven and earth, since I am a disciple, I must kneel down. Shen Yun supported him, and the other party said seriously, and then he kowtowed 3 times in the direction of the ground, and his forehead turned red. Shen Yun used some strength to help the person up. This is how apprenticeship should be. At that time, when we apprenticed, we regarded the master as our biological father. We are anxious about the apprenticeship ceremony today, so I will send it to you later. Mr. Chu quite agreed with his grandson's approach. Hearing what Mr. Chu said, the 2 young men from the Zhang family next to him also made a plop, immediately kowtowed, and their movements were smooth and smooth. Here, apprenticeship ceremony. Mr. Zhang also cooperated and took out a box from his cabinet and handed it to Shen Yun. In the blink of an eye, he had 3 more apprentices. Seeing several children looking at him eagerly, Shen Yun didn't say anything after all, but he had to give them the apprenticeship ceremony. These 3 marrow cleansing pills and peace talismans are given to you as a ceremony to become a disciple. Shen Yun directly took out 3 engraved talismans and a small bottle from his pocket. These 3 were not large in size and took them out. It's not conspicuous, and it's easy to get. Thank you, Master. The 3 people took the things and bowed their heads. Don't be like this. Let's just get along normally. This marrow cleansing pill will be very painful if you eat it. As long as you stick to it, it will be good for your future cultivation. Wait until you find time to take it, Shen Yun explained to a few people. There was a sound. Okay, Master, the 3 people responded. Shen Yun has just become a master and is really not used to it. Then you should stay at home first, and I will come over to let you know when I have packed up and want to go back to my hometown. Several people agreed. Shen Yun and the others went to see Shen Jian again and made an agreement with him to come and take him home after acupuncture tomorrow. Shen Yun and the others left Jiang's house and walked out of the door. Shen Yun hadn't recovered yet. Brother, do I have 3 more apprentices? Yes, I just watched them become apprentices. Shen Chen also felt a little dreamy. Such a wealthy family is like this. It is so easy for children to become apprentices without checking where the master's home is. Think about where his own home is. Inside the mountain nook, Shen Chen thought that when he called his family later, he would tell them to pack up a room at home and come out. After all, there would be a few more permanent residents in the family, so they could get used to it first. Okay, I still feel a little unreal. I hope I won't mislead others in the future. After all, these children have quite a future, Shen Yun muttered in a low voice. What did you 2 do when we didn't know about it? 2 question mark faces came over from the side. I didn't do much, I just took in 3 apprentices, the ones taller than me, Shen Yun said with a dreamy look on his face. It was definitely not his first time, but when he gets used to it in the future, he won't make such a fuss. Oh, apprentice. Who doesn't have one yet? The bear is my apprentice, Xiao Banqi said proudly. Do you know what an apprentice is? Just say it here, a child. Shen Hong looked at the smelly child in his arms and couldn't help but retort. It's just that the races are different. What can you teach others? Shen Yun glanced at the little Benda, who was speechless. Okay, you adults are just boring and have no ability at all. Xiao Bengqiao crossed his arms and said unhappily. Yes, adults are not as powerful as you kids. I'm going out for a trip. You can play with your brothers and teach them how to practice. Shen Yun told them where to go, and the 3 of them hugged each other without asking any questions. He walked towards home with a small bounce. Shen Yun went directly to the Alchemy Research Institute. The place looked the same as it did a year ago. There were not many changes. There were still people inside. It seemed that the scene he was worried about did not happen. No one had escaped yet. Shen Yun and the guard identified themselves and registered their names. When they entered, they saw people from the Research Institute holding a book and reading it. Shen Yun took a look and saw that it was the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Plants. Everyone, long time no see, Shen Yun spoke out, and only a few people who were fascinated realized who was in the room. Hey, it's Master Shen. You're finally back. We've got all your books. Now we've learned a lot. When several people saw it was Shen Yun, they put away their things and gathered around to talk. Our fire palms are now empty, and we have found someone to make the alchemy furnace as you drew it. Now it is in every room. Do you want to visit it? After that, he started to introduce the equipment and equipment added this year. Achievement. Shen Yun couldn't refuse a visit after such a long time. Then let's take a look. If there are spiritual plants in the place, we can see if we can practice something later and teach you how to practice. Okay, okay, several people responded happily. They had also tried medicine themselves. Although they didn't produce any elixirs this year, they could produce several Chinese patent medicines, which also gave them a lot of confidence. Now Shen Yun having said that, everyone became even more excited. They took Shen Yun to see the alchemy room and then to see their plantation. The whole area of spiritual plants planted made Shen Yun envious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 279. The herbs inside are very complete, many of which Shen Yun has never seen before. Did you grow all of these yourself? Shen Yun asked curiously. What kind of cultivation technology is this? These spiritual plants grow vigorously here. Really talented. This was specially done by inviting agricultural experts. They said that soilless cultivation, propagation by cuttings, etc. would be possible by then. Anyway, it sounds awesome, and we don't really understand it. We just come here occasionally to see and hear about it. There is nothing to hide. Can you please leave your contact information? I really want to ask for advice, Shen Yun asked. Of course. When we leave later, we will find you a phone directory. There are not only teachers in this field, but also students in this field. It is easy to use and the price is not expensive, the other party said smartly. Shen Yun gave the other party a thumbs up. How did he know that he needed someone cheap and easy to use? That's great. Okay, since the materials are all complete, even though they are a bit young, they can still be used to refine some low-level elixirs. Now let's pick some and go back and teach you how to make elixirs. Shen Yun didn't intend to teach you anything difficult. Even if my family wants to engage in the elixir business in the future, it won't affect it. After all, there are so many kinds of elixirs, and there are many options to choose from. The spirit-boosting elixir I chose today is simple and practical. It is not too difficult to refine. It is suitable for novices. Once they become proficient in refining this elixir, school affairs will probably be upgraded. By then, elixir refining will not be a big deal. It is a confidential project. These people will probably have to go to school to learn and then teach. However, those who have basic knowledge will probably be called to be teachers by then. Think about it, these people can become teachers. Shen Yun is now more confident in his teaching tasks. After spending a day demonstrating the method of refining the spirit-boosting pill to everyone step by step, and solving everyone's doubts, Shen Yun left the Alchemy Research Institute. Finally, the name is not in vain, at least I came by myself, and the rest is for the master to lead me into practice and see who I am. From now on, I can't say that I'm only anticlimactic. The guilt in Shen Yun's heart dissipated. Taking the contact information of the agricultural expert, I left this place with satisfaction. I plan to contact a few people when I go back and see if they are willing to go back to my hometown with me to study the new topic of planting spiritual plants in the mountains. When she got home, she found that the 3 people at home were practicing hard. Shen Yun calmed down and set up a spirit gathering array in the yard, and she also joined the practice. Early the next morning, the 4 of them had packed up and were in good spirits. If there were no problems today, they would go and pick up Shen Jian. How could this not make people happy? We arrived at Jiang's house at just the right time. Shen Yun and the others watched Chu Lao's acupuncture. Shen Jian's condition today was visibly improved. Brother, sister, you are here seeing a few people. Shen Jian took the initiative to say hello. How are you feeling today? Shen Chen asked standing aside. It's all good. I drank some porridge and sat up for a while. I feel better than ever before, Shen Jian said with a smile, and he could already smile. He is recovering very well. We won't do any more acupuncture, we will just do some rehabilitation activities when we go back. This will help him stand up as soon as possible, Chu Lao explained after acupuncture. Then does my brother need to take some medicine for this situation? Shen Chen asked worriedly. Your brother is suffering from the sequelae of lying down for a long time, and he has no disease. He doesn't need to take any medicine. He just needs to recover well, Mr. Chu emphasized. Okay, okay, I remember it. Chen Chen nodded quickly. Okay, since the person is fine, you can take him back today. I guess he won't feel comfortable living here, and you need to run here every day, which will also waste time, Mr. Zhang also said with a smile. Thank you so much for bothering you for so long. Shen Yun and others bowed directly to the two old people. This solved the worries of the whole family. From now on, the family will no longer have such worries. Then we can develop better in the future. Oh, why are you so polite? The house is reserved for people to live in. The two of you live here, and we have a companion. The house has been a little lively these days. If it weren't for the fear that you would worry about people, I wouldn't let you in. You go. Mr. Zhang waved his hand. The other party was polite, and Shen Yun and the others were even more polite. The two parties laughed and talked for a while, and then Shen Yun and the others packed up. When I left, my 3 new apprentices even gave me a special ride. Master, we have delivered it. Let's go back and explain to Grandpa and the others first. After Shen Jian settled down, the 3 of them came over to say goodbye politely. Let's have lunch here, Shen Yun persuaded. Master, Grandpa has already told us to send him back, so the few of us will leave first. The 3 people refused directly. That's okay, I won't keep you here. Come over for dinner when you have time. We live here anyway, Shen Yun said with a smile. Okay, Master, let's go. After the 3 people finished speaking, they left directly, walked outside the door, and walked quickly towards home. Where did this come from? Shen Yun turned around and saw Xiao Bengqiu rummaging through the bag, and what he took out was money. The 3 kids just brought them here, Xiao Bengqi said matter-of-factly. I just thought it belonged to Shen Jian and the others. Shen Heng was also a little confused. Shen Yun went over to check it out and saw that there were notes in the bag. When he took it out and looked at it, he realized that one was the ginseng reward given by Mr. Zhang. He was afraid that Shen Yun would not accept it, so he gave it to him in this way. As for what Mr. Chu received was the reward of ginseng and the apprenticeship ceremony. Chen Yun directly pulled out a box from underneath. These 2 old people are really honest. They gave so much money. Do we want to send it back? Shen Chen and Shen Heng also joined in. Shen Yun thought for a while. No, since it was sent like this, the old man will be unhappy if he sends it back. Just accept it. Isn't the family short of money? Send some back home and let my dad ask about base Han. Let's see. Can you cover all the hills near our home? Many of the mountains over there are stone mountains, which are not easy to grow. Although the mountains are not very steep, they are not gentle either. What are you doing with such a mountain? Shen Chen asked in confusion. How can I go down the mountain with the money? It's much better to rent land. Although things cannot be planted on the mountain, many spiritual plants grow naturally, and some cultivation places can be built in the mountain in the future. The spiritual energy of the mountain forest is rich, making it more suitable for cultivation. Shen Yun expressed his thoughts. If that's the case, that's fine. I'll call my family and talk about it later. Shen Chen nodded. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 280. Shen Chen mentioned this matter to his family when he went back to inform his family of the good news. Aunt Shen promised to convey the news. Now that Shen Jian is well, Shen Hong and I will take the people back. The care taken by the few of us here is not as good as that of the second aunt and the others. After 2 days of rest, Shen Jian was able to sit for a long time. Shen Chen put forward his own idea. Don't worry, I'll take you to see it in a few days. Shen Yun took the auction invitation he just received and handed it to several people to see. He was the provider of the auction. The person who just came to send the invitation specifically said, "Boss, she was told that she could take her family with her to attend the auction." Shen Yun and the others were the only ones in the capital city. Shen Yun planned to go there to see them all, so that they could have a good idea of what they were going to do in the future. Are we going to the auction? Are you planning to auction something? Shen Chen looked through it. There were antiques, jewelry, some special plants and stones, and even a few special things that were not marked. Thing. But even if I haven't seen it, I have heard a lot in the past year. None of the items at this auction have a low price. Shen Chen thought about the money that Mr. Chu and Mr. Zhang sent that day, and looked at the invitation. Looking at the things in the letter, I guess I have fallen in love with something, and I don't know if the money is enough. No, I just went over to see it. I have something I want to auction, Shen Yun explained. Shen Chen glanced at the last page. There was a link to freely offer items for bidding. He must have wanted to participate in this event. However, Shen Chen took another look at the exquisite jewelry in front of him. How could a girl not like this thing? It's just because the economy doesn't allow it? After deciding to stay in Beijing to attend the auction, Shen Chen and Shen Hong also became busy. Shen Yun didn't see anyone for a day, and a day later, even Xiao Bengqiao couldn't see anyone. Where are the eldest brother and fourth brother? Shen Yun asked Shen Hong and the others who were supporting Shen Jian to walk in the yard. It seems like something happened when you went out, and you didn't tell me. It was so mysterious. Shen Hong didn't know either. Anyway, they all got up early in the morning. Shen Yun glanced around with his consciousness and found that he was out of the range of his consciousness. He didn't know where he was going. Why did these people go out without explaining anything? Yesterday, Shen Yun thought that these two people went out to play, but it didn't look like this today. The little ones went out secretly, and they have become more capable. Shen Yun was sitting in the courtyard, waiting for these people to come back before asking questions. The moon gradually rose, and the night market outside began to become lively. Shen Yun suddenly stood up at a certain moment, startling the two people next to him. What's the matter? What happened? Shen Hong asked nervously. It's okay. I just found my brother and the others walking this way. Shen Yun sat down again. Nothing happened to him, so there was no need to worry. What on earth did they do? Shen Jian asked curiously. He also has a lively personality. He is sitting at home and cannot go out, but he is really curious about the outside world. He wants to get better quickly every day. This way you can go shopping in Beijing. I don't know, let's wait and see what they say when they come back. Shen Yun didn't know what the three people were doing mysteriously and hiding it from them this time. The three people were waiting at home. Unexpectedly, these people turned around at the door of the house, and Shen Yun stood up again. Seeing a few people setting up a stall in the night market, and then taking out the day's harvest from the pockets on his back, Shen Yun finally knew what the three of them were doing that day. What's wrong? The two people asked quickly when they saw Shen Yun standing up again. They have set up a stall in the night market. Should we go and have a look? Shen Yun asked the two people. Okay, Shen Jian responded first. Just let me see how long I can hold on. Shen Jian watched the two people look at him and said quickly. Okay, let's go. Let's go out and have a look. It's not that far anyway, Shen Yun responded directly. Shen Hong supported Shen Jian, and Shen Yun gave some spiritual energy support beside him. Shen Jian suddenly felt a lot more relaxed. Actually, your current strength can support you to walk independently, but you are not used to the spiritual energy in your body yet, you haven't learned how to use it yet, so it's so strenuous to walk in the past few days. You have to get used to the feeling of spiritual energy running throughout your body. Although you relied on the help of third brother and the others in the past, your body has already formed a memory. Cultivation is as simple as sleeping for you, Shen Yun said to Shen Jian on the side. I will adapt as soon as possible. Shen Jian nodded. After sleeping, he changed from an ordinary person to a fourth-level Qi practitioner. This is something that everyone has to adapt to. Okay, you can ask us if you have any questions. We are basically at home these days. Shen Yun nodded. Good. After a while, Shen Yun and the others arrived at the night market, and the lively sounds rushed towards them. The three of them hadn't gone far when the housekeeper, Shen Chen, was enthusiastically introducing the items at his stall to the guests. Standing still, watching from a distance, Shen Hong was helping to introduce, and the little girl was acting cute. It didn't take long for the customer to buy the things he liked. "They are going up the mountain to pick spiritual plants," Shen Hong said in surprise. As a preparatory alchemist, he had already read the jade slips about spiritual plants given to him by Shen Yun. Now he could tell at a glance. Most of what Shen Chen and his others put on their stall were something. "I guess it's too impatient to stay at home all day. Since we want to do something, let's not stop him. Just take a look here and then go back. Anyway, the eldest brother is used to doing business, so this little thing can't be difficult for him," Chen Yun said, standing aside. "Okay, let's take a look for a while." Shen Hong also nodded. If he could go away, he would also go, not because he wanted to dig up spiritual plants to make money, but because he wanted to dig up more spiritual plants and raise them. When the time comes, he takes it to his hometown, so that when he can make elixirs by himself, there will be a large area of spiritual plants at home for him to use. However, I can only think about this matter now, and we will wait until Shen Jian is better. Shen Yun and the others watched here for a while and saw that there was no problem with the three people here, so the three of them strolled back. After returning home, Shen Yun took out a jade slip and began to carve the content. You must know that there are many spiritual plants in his own space. His ancestors used to collect some rare spiritual plants. There are really no such common ones. And now Shen Yun has to add to it. Since the eldest brother and the others are going out to dig for spiritual plants, he will not be polite. Early the next morning, I stopped a few people who were about to go out and handed them the jade slips directly. "If you see the spiritual plants here, bring some back to me by the way." The three people suddenly froze.